Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's 9:20 in the morning and the sun is beginning to come out and it's still dark in the pond there under the covers. The koi are looking for food, it seems. Well, they're always looking for food. The temperature of the pond water is not visible because it's still dark in there. So I'm just researching on how clean your pond water has to be in order to grow koi and keep them healthy. So I turned to this article on ozone application in recirculating aquaculture system. And in fish farms where they grow lots of fish for consumption, they want to keep their water clean, but at the same time they don't want to change so much water because it's very expensive. It's not good for their profit. So I was just reading that many of them try to clean water, or one of the techniques some apply is application of ozone. But I don't see myself doing that. But what I do is change a lot of water, and chlorinated water at that. So it's even more oxidizing, more cleaner than your typical rainwater or RO water, because it's got chlorine, it's more oxidizing. So in this article, for example, first of all, I just wanted to know what a good ORP level is, which is the oxidizing level, because I'm trying to find out whether I should buy an ORP meter to figure just that, how clean and oxidizing the water should be before it becomes dangerous to the fish. But this article on ozone is pretty interesting. It says that, for example, maintaining fish in a reticulating system involves establishing adequate dissolved oxygen levels, removal of solid waste, sufficient ammonia nitrification. Yeah, it makes sense. But and it says here, ozone has been shown to be efficient in eliminating pathogens affecting seafood in freshwater and seawater aquaculture systems. Moreover, ozone can improve water quality by reducing biochemical oxygen demand, ammonia and nitrate. So that's interesting. So perhaps the way I put in an oxidizing agent in my pond water, meaning I don't dechlorinize my incoming water, I might be reducing ammonia and nitrite. And indeed, I'm not the only one that changed water without dechlorinating their water changes. Many change 10 to 20% without dechlorinating their water on a weekly basis, especially during the summertime. Back to ozone application, it says on this article that ozone can be applied continuously as a series of treatments per day or a single batch treatment per day. Application in most situations can be linked to feeding strategy employed in the culture system. And I think they suggest here that one of the ways is to apply it after feeding them, because 3 to 4 hours, it says here, after feeding fish, the concentrations of ammonia, dissolved organics, and other waste products reach maximum. So too bad this statement is not referenced here. Maybe they think that it's well known, so they didn't reference it. But this is what we're gonna test today. So it's 9 degrees. Looks like it's gonna be a gorgeous day today. Good after like 2 days of constant rain. So the fish hasn't fed yet, and we're gonna go get some water to see what the ammonia level is before they get fed. Hi guys! Breakfast coming soon. I'm just here to get some water. So this is my ammonia checker by Hanna, and you've seen me do a video on how to use this in the past videos. What you do is put 10 mils of pond water in the vial there, clean the outside of the vial or the cuvette, stick it in the meter, and zero it. Next, you put 4 drops of solution A. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you put in 4 drops of solution B. 1. Then you put on the cap and then swirl it, then clean the outside of the vial before you put it in the meter again. And then press and hold until you see the count, the timer starts counting down. So this is the result of the ammonia level before the fish got fed. It's showing 0.00. So I measured out 10 grams of pellets in there, and we're gonna go outside now and feed the koi. Unfortunately, I'm still in my pajamas and seem to have joined Terry Riley's Slippers Club. And we're just gonna feed them through the feeding hole. Just a little detour here, just to show you how red this Japanese maple is this time of the year. It's the kind of red or beni you'd want on your koi. And there they all are feeding, having their breakfast. Light has penetrated the cavern now, and it shows my temperature is 19 degrees. So it's almost 11 o'clock now, 10:42, and we're gonna check the ammonia level again at around 3 to 4 hour mark. So what's that, 11, 14, around 2 o'clock. So what I've decided is that instead of waiting 3 to 4 hours after feeding, I've decided to check the ammonia level is halfway, which is at the 2 hour mark after feeding. This is in case the ammonia increases and the filter looks after it, and then we'll get a reading of 0 again. So we'll check it now at the 2 hour mark, see what the ammonia level is. So I haven't changed anything. I haven't even vacuumed the pond yet today. And the only thing I've done is take out the styrofoam from the opening here to let some sunshine penetrate through the cavern. Hey kids, just getting some more water. So the ammonia level is 2 hours after feeding is still 0. So that was kind of disappointing. 2 hours after feeding the koi, I still haven't seen any ammonia or ammonia spike. Maybe because the filter has taken the ammonia away already, or it's because it's sunny out. Maybe the algae has taken the ammonia away. So what we're gonna do, even though it's a bit early, I'm gonna redose ammonia and feed the koi another 10 grams of koi food. So here we go, another 10 grams of food. So it's 2 o'clock and the koi are enjoying their food. So it's been an hour since the second feed and 4 hours since the first feed. So we're gonna go ahead and test for any ammonia spike that we can see. Temperature now is 19.4. Not bad, it's a 0.4 degree climb throughout the day. Normally, sometimes you don't get any temperature increase, especially if it's cloudy and overcast outside. And the ammonia level is... dun 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 dun. Still 0! So I'm getting desperate here. It's not their shrimp and rice day, but today I'm gonna feed them shrimp because shrimp is high in protein, so that might bring up an ammonia spike. So it's 4:30 now. We're gonna feed them a shrimp meal, and then we'll check in an hour to see if we get any ammonia spike. Hey kids, here you go, shrimp. And down they go. Shrimp and rice are stinking food, so they go way down. Sorry for all the glare. Not a good time to film around this time because of the glare. There you go. Let them have all that. And we'll check in an hour to see if we get any ammonia spike. So coming up is the result of my ammonia level 5.5 hours after the first feed, 2.5 hours after the second feed, and 1 hour after the shrimp and rice dinner. So we'll see if we get any ammonia spike. And the result is dun 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 dun. Yes! Got an ammonia spike of 0.01. That's amazing. I bet you've never had anybody been so happy about getting an ammonia in their pond water. So I don't exactly know what created this accumulation of ammonia, so it might still be going up if that's caused by the shrimp and rice dinner, because I know shrimp is high in protein, but there's not much shrimp there, and it's all very concentrated protein. I didn't give much, but it could be just the accumulation of the first feeding, the second feeding, followed by the shrimp and rice, that finally triggered an ammonia reading. Or it could be because it's not so sunny outside that the algae didn't take away the ammonia. I don't know. Just a little background of why I did this today is because the last couple of readings prior to this, I've had readings of 0.03, and yesterday I had a reading of 0.04. Haven't tested in a while prior to that because I've always been getting readings of 0 since, I don't know, beginning of summer or late spring. And the highest reading before those two readings, I've had a reading of 0.02. But yeah, like I said, it's always 0.00 prior to those readings. I'm not going to test again after today because it was yesterday that was the reading of 0.04. And I can't remember when, at what time I took the reading, but I think it was late in the day too. And I remember it was a shrimp day too. So it must have been just an accumulation of the feeding during the day that spiked up the ammonia reading. So if I were to take another reading, it could still be going up, but it doesn't matter. Likelihood is that by tomorrow morning, before their first feed, it'll still be 0.00. And just a quick update on my nitrate experiment. It's called my nitrate, what do you call it? Simple nitrate hack. These lines here are my air lines that feeds the pond, but these two here are not air lines. These are actually siphon. it siphons the water from the pond and it goes into my basement. And I think from what I remember, I have since added a new line here. I used to have just the one here. I added another line, this one with the longer tube. That's the new one. It's been there since, I don't know, a long time, since the spring. And it's been running. And it drains into my basement drain here, see? And there's a couple of valves there that you can control how fast the water will flow out. The idea is that as the water goes through the tubing here, they'll start out with high oxygen, and by the time it gets to the end here, it'll run out of oxygen, and what will happen is the living organisms, microorganisms, the bacteria, biofilm, whatever, will at the end use up nitrate instead of oxygen to reproduce. And so I was hoping that nitrate will be less coming out of these tubes here, but it turns out that it's not taking up nitrates. It's actually producing more nitrates. So what's happening in the tube is still a whole bunch of nitrification, because at the end here I have higher nitrates than what I have in the pond. And I will show you guys that at the end here I'll have less oxygen. Remember, I had a reading of 0.01 in the pond, and I should have a 0.00 reading here, because that 0.01 would have been taken out by the nitrification that's going on in these two tubes. So we're gonna check the ammonia level at the end of this, what I used to call nitrate filter hack experiment. And it's still 0.01. Maybe because it's this checker is not sensitive enough to detect the mild decrease in nitrogen. But I'm pretty sure those tubes actually does nitrify, because I've had readings lower for the ammonia that's coming out of those tubes. But it does tell you how accurate this checker is, because the readings are very reproducible or very repeatable. Hi guys, so now it's Friday, and that test was done on a Monday, and we started out with the ammonia of 0, and after several feedings we got an ammonia of 0.01. And remember, the next day I thought I wasn't going to test, and I did it. I didn't get a chance to, but I thought it'll be 0. But the following day after that, it was on a Wednesday, and surprise that I still had a reading of 0.01 of ammonia. So I started feeding that day. I fed 8 grams at 7, 8 grams at 9, and then they got their shrimp and rice lunch at 11, and I gave them 8 grams at 1 p.m. Then at 3 p.m. I tested the ammonia, and that's at 2 hours after the last pellets and 4 hours after the shrimp and rice lunch. And you would suspect that it would be higher than 0.1. At least I suspect it will be higher than 0.1. But no, it turned out 0. But what what I recorded here is just the ammonia of 0.01. But at the end of the day, it actually went down after all that feeding. So I don't know whether that theory works, that after like 3 or 4 hours that ammonia will go up. So maybe I'm not feeding enough, that it won't, that my tests aren't accurate enough, but maybe there's a margin of error when you have ammonia this low. And today I tested the ammonia again and started feeding throughout the day. I started with ammonia level 0.00, then I started feeding during the day. Then after all this feeding, maybe an hour after the last feed, and like 2 or 3 hours after the shrimp dinner, I still got a reading of 0 on the Hanna ammonia reader. So this theory doesn't work for me. I still wonder though why I get these what I call ammonia spikes. I mean, like relatively to other readings I've heard on YouTube, where they got readings of 0.07, 0.1. These are relatively low, but they are spikes in terms of how much I feed my koi, and I don't feed them that much. Over the last 2 weeks, I've had spikes of 0.04 and 0.03, and you're wondering what it was like before that. And I call it spikes because I don't really get ammonia levels. Well, I haven't been testing over the summer here, as you can see. That is because before that, I've always been testing 0. Maybe I should have just kept testing on a weekly basis. It's always been 0 since May, since April. There was one reading in March where I had a reading of 0.02, and I thought that was quite low too. So between 0.02 and 0, I don't think it was much of a difference. So I think from now on, since I get these what I call ammonia spikes, I should be testing more frequently. Maybe I should just order more of those bottles instead of the solution of the chemicals that you use for the ammonia reader, because I think I'm about to run out. I still think though that algae has got to do with it. Why on certain occasions I get zeros, because I believe the algae in the water or in the line or the pond, when it's sunny, they're more active, and they tend to take up a lot of ammonia. Well, not a lot. The little that I have, they're probably able to look after it, because the days today and Thursday, yesterday, I recorded as sunny. It was sunny those days, and during the times where I got a reading of 0.03 and 0.04, it was windy. It was kind of overcast and rainy before or during those days. Anyways, I'll test it out some more in the future and see if I can get any trends as to when I get the ammonia spikes. Because I haven't really changed anything recently. I still feed the same amount of food. I still change amount of water. The only thing that's changing right now is how much sun and daylight the pond gets, and also the decreasing temperature in the pond. But the reading of 0.02 here back in March was preceded by a couple of sunny days. So I don't know whether the sun has to do anything to do with it, or the water was colder too around that time. And I wasn't feeding as much, not nearly as much. And I recorded down that on the Saturday before this reading, I fed the koi oranges. So I don't know whether an orange has got something to do with this 0.0 reading, but I don't think there's much of a protein in oranges, but I don't know. So even though it seems that a 0.02 reading on the ammonia meter doesn't seem like much, it is kind of a warning sign, because that 0.02 on the meter represents ammonia-nitrogen. That means it only accounts for the ammonia, the nitrogen in the ammonia molecule in parts per million. So if you were to look at this picture of ammonia here, it is only the concentration of the nitrogen in the ammonia molecule. It doesn't represent the weight of the actual molecule, or the concentration of the molecule itself. And according to Hanna, in order to get the weight of the entire molecule in concentration of ammonia per liter, you have to multiply that number by 1.2. And if you multiply 0.02 by if you multiply 0.02 by 1.2 as per the instructions on the ammonia directions to get the concentrations of ammonia in the water, you have to multiply it by 1.2. So 0.02 times 1.2 gives you a 0.024 milligrams per liter of ammonia. And a level of 0.024 will put you outside of the safe zone here, according to this ammonia alert card. These are cards that you stick inside aquariums to give you ammonia reading, and if you have a certain ammonia reading, this central region here will turn a color that matches these levels here. So in a Hanna meter, if you get a reading of 0.02, will take you away from this safe zone, and a reading of 0.04, if you multiply that 1.2, it'll put you into this alert zone, and a reading of 0.2 on the ammonia, 0.2 on the ammonia on the Hanna meter will put you into this alarm zone, and a reading of 0.4 on the Hanna meter, if you multiply that by 1.2, will put you into this toxic zone. So for me, I rather not go beyond this 0.02 level. So from now on, even though I'm getting readings of 0.00 on my ammonia readings, I will try not to skip, or at least do a test every 2 weeks. Even the ammonia spike that I just got recently, I don't know whether that did any harm to the fish, because I just noticed today that Kobe, which is my Sanke, has a split on his right fin. I don't know, probably got nothing to do with it, but sometimes you gotta wonder. Anyways, I hope you like this episode, and thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video.